Hi everyone, good Wednesday evening to you, and welcome back to the freshest edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. Beware the Ides of March, right? March 15th. Nothing to really be scared about or beware today weather-wise. It was a pretty benign day, and we have some ups and downs in our forecast for the next few days, which we will get to. First things first, the National Weather Service office in Cleveland today put this on social media, and it's a good reminder that we could use some more volunteers in the weather enterprise, and they're actually going to do a free webinar coming up on Monday the 20th from 6 to 7, so that's 5 days from now. That's the first day of spring, about becoming a weather volunteer, specifically the CoCoRaHS program. This is where you daily report your rain totals and your snow totals. I update mine, just a real easy web interface every morning at 9 a.m. I report how much rain I saw in the last 24 hours, how much snow I observed both on the ground and that accumulated most recently. And this is a great way to help out the weather enterprise so we can get more high resolution data in. It's always good to see in different communities how much rain fell, how much snow fell, whether there were any significant weather phenomena that day. So we want more CoCoRaHS observers out there, and don't forget to register for this webinar. It's a free one. If you can't make it to that one on March the 20th, next Monday, they'll put a recording of it online with information about how you can very simply and easily help us out with weather observations. All right, we observed 44 for the high this afternoon, a degree or two shy of average, but much closer to the average than yesterday. We're about halfway, of course, through the month of March. When you factor in highs and lows, for all the talk of a chilly March, we're actually just a little bit warmer than the average through the first 15 days of the month. It'll be interesting to see if March ends up being warmer than the average after all the talk of a chillier than average March. It may end up being pretty close to average, or maybe even a little bit warmer than average, but I think when compared to February, it is going to be, as promised, a pretty dramatic change after one of the warmest Februaries on record. March will not go into the record books as any sort of abnormally warm month. In the snow department, we had 0 today, not displayed just yet, but we did have a 0 today, and that puts an end to the streak of 3 consecutive days with measurable snow at the airport, actually 4 of the last 5. Believe it or not, kind of our snowiest stretch in a couple of months, with some fairly paltry numbers, of course, but we did have 2.3 officially observed at the airport on Monday. For the month, 4.3 is where we stand. That's over 2 inches behind the average. And for the season, we're still in the neighborhood of 40 inches shy of the average. The number a little less impressive in both Pittsburgh and Akron, but Cleveland's 34 plus inches behind average. Erie, close to 45 inches shy of the average. All right, so our seasonal snow total officially at the airport. Whenever I mention snow totals at the airport, even though I mention, hey, this is for the airport, no doubt I get some comments sometimes. There's no way we had that much. We haven't had that much. No way. Don't forget, this is at the airport in Trumbull County in Vienna, and your mileage certainly can vary during the course of a winter season as far as how much snow you've seen in your community. No doubt, if you live in Mahoning and Columbiana County, you have not seen 22.5 inches worth of snow so far this season. In the meantime, conversely, I should say, if you live in northern Trumbull, northern Mercer County, you've had a fair amount more than this, but still, of course, way behind average. This is the third least amount of snow we've seen through today's date on record through March the 15th. Now, the record low seasonal total for the entire season is 23.9 inches, set back in the mid-1930s. So if we get less than 1.4 inches worth of snow from now till the end of the season, it will end up being the least snowy season on record. Now, I think there's a low chance of that happening. Chances are we're going to see at least 1.3 inches or 1.4 inches of snow between now and the end of the season, but just in case April ends up being warmer than expected or something like that, we'll be keeping a close eye on the record books over the next month or so. All right, crystal clear sky this evening. Pretty good space station pass. Not super high in the sky, but up to about a third of the way up, 32 degrees above the horizon. Starting at 8:35, ending 8:39, appearing in the south-southwest sky, and then disappearing 4 minutes later in the west sky. Put a reminder earlier on social media, just in case you need another reminder to check that out this evening. Our sky's clear, but some clouds are building out to the west. Those clouds will work their way east tomorrow. This is where most of the action is. We actually had a severe thunderstorm warning in the deserts of California a couple of hours ago in Southern California, and it's an unsettled evening around Phoenix, up towards the Grand Canyon. Vegas is getting rain, even some rain around Death Valley, California. this evening. All right, tomorrow's a different day for us in that it won't be just so pristinely sunny as today was, but despite some fair weather clouds, it'll still be a mild day. We'll get into the 50s tomorrow afternoon. Then the rain pushes in probably before midnight Thursday night. Showers will come and go through Friday morning. Still do think that we'll see a push of drier air by the afternoon. That's the good news. The bad news is temperatures are likely to fall Friday afternoon in the wake of our front, so we'll probably reach our high around midday Friday in the lower 50s, and then see temperatures closer to the lower 40s towards sunset. And with a quickening northwest wind, it's going to feel pretty chilly out there, I think, during the second half of our St. Patrick's Day. So, there's going to be a lot of people out celebrating, in and out of bars and restaurants, that sort of thing, and dress appropriately, because while it may be fairly mild, albeit damp in the morning, I think there'll be a real nip in the air by the end of the afternoon into the evening on Friday. Speaking of a nip in the air, this is going to be a chilly weekend. We'll be in between weather systems on Saturday, but still this is going to be a blustery day with gusts up to maybe 30 or 35 miles per hour or so, creating a wind chill mostly in the teens and 20s, and temperatures no higher than the 30s. There'll be a little sun on Saturday. This dashed black line, this is the next weather disturbance, and I do think this will kick up at least some flurries Saturday night into Sunday morning. All right, I know my car needs a wash, a bath, after driving through a little bit of snow and a whole lot of salt over the last couple of days. Rainfall totals should be pretty modest Thursday night into Friday, maybe up to a half an inch, but generally a quarter to a half an inch worth of rain is pretty likely. Now, this St. Patrick's Day will not be as warm as last year. We had 71 degrees on St. Patrick's Day last year. We had 66 a couple of years ago. It won't be as chilly, at least in terms of a daytime high, as 2018, 2019, 2020, even though late afternoon temperatures will be kind of in that neighborhood, lower and middle 40s. The warmest, no surprise, in that very warm March of 2012, we had the warmest St. Patrick's Day on record at 77 degrees. Now, even though the weekend's going to be pretty chilly, next week I don't think it looks bad at all. In fact, we'll string together a handful of above average days, it looks like, starting on Tuesday, and that means highs will be mostly in the 50s, maybe even we flirt with 60 a couple of times next week. And I do think that this is generally a pretty benign temperature outlook for much of the rest of March. Maybe we turn colder during the last handful of days of March, but at least for the next couple of weeks, I don't see a lot of cold, harsh cold at least, on the horizon. What about April? Now we're only halfway through March, so we're going to take this with a grain of salt, but here's just one set of modeling. This is the Climate Forecast System model, the CFS. For April, it shows quite a bit of blue east of the Rockies. Not real high confidence in this solution right now, but I also don't see any model information. This model joins the chorus with a lot of other models that would suggest there's not a strong signal for a super warm April or anything like that. It may end up being sort of like March in that it's not super cold, but also not exactly June-like this April. So that's kind of the way things look right now. We'll, of course, be updating that April forecast as we get deeper into the second half of March. Thank you for watching Weather for Weather Geeks on this Wednesday evening. I'll see you same time, same place, coming up on Thursday.